missing 600 pounds. I can't help but feel that I'm, of course, disappointed, but I kind of have a bunch of different mixed feelings. I feel pretty good because I competed for a second time, or a third time, I should say, but this is only deadlift only. But I'll tell you a little bit about the meet, kind of what happened. I did a 529 opener, and it flew up. It was ridiculously light. That Texas bar has so much flex that it's almost like, you know, once you kind of get yourself, you know, pumped up, you get all the endorphins going, adrenaline going, you grab the bar, and it just floats up. It really felt like I could have done 2 more, like RPE 8 on a 529 deadlift. Kind of crazy. So instead of going for 565, which I had planned, I went ahead and went for 573. 573 pounds, felt pretty damn... all I was thinking about before I made the lift was focus on acceleration. Because when you deadlift and you're lifting really heavy weight, and sometimes if you don't warm up properly, or you're not kind of mentally ready, or you're just not ready, period, you get this kind of oh shit moment where you're like, oh crap, the weight is heavy, and you kind of forgot. There's like multiple things that kind of happen, right? You pick the weight off the ground, and say something that's really heavy, right? If you pick it off the ground, you're like, oh shit, it actually got off the ground. And then you get it to your knees, and then you're like, oh shit, this is fucking heavy. And then you get this slow lockout. So I kind of in my head was trying to focus on accelerating the bar and not stopping, because sometimes in training, and some things that I see sometimes mentally, because I do overthink my lift sometimes, is that I almost underestimate the lockout, and I think that's one of the biggest reasons why my lockout's weak. It's not just that necessarily it's a weak point, it's more like an underestimated point. Like if I really focus on just making sure I lock out sharply and hard, I'm going to be fine. So I think that's definitely something I'm going to work on in training. So I did 573, and actually I take that back. So 573, actually I wrote down some notes here that I'm going over. 529 felt super light. It felt ridiculous. It was like a warm-up set, which is sort of like what the first attempt should be. It's supposed to be an easy triple. Second attempt was 573. Also felt light. It felt like I could have done at least 2 more, and that would have been a PR. I'm not going to do that in training. And then I went for 6, and it felt, since it felt light, I said just fuck it. I'm going to do 600 pounds. Well, I missed it. And what happened? As I was picking up the bar, as I was getting ready to approach the bar, I was just thinking, okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to not let go of the bar. Right? That was kind of in my head. I'm going to not let go of the bar. But the reason why I ended up letting go of the bar was because I was out of position. I was so far out of position that there was no way that bar was going to get up. At least not where I was in my low back strength training, because I haven't really been focusing on my lower back. The big advantage of kind of strength, having a really, really strong lower back and being at a heavier body weight, is that you can grind some bad form with your lower back. Of course, you can probably know this if you pull conventional. But I felt my lower back get stretched out a little bit, so I might be really sore tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But 2 things that come to mind. One, I got away from the bar, or my hip shot up too quickly. I'm sure one of you have probably experienced this in conventional heavy deadlifts, or maybe even some rep work. And the one mistake I did make is I didn't make contact with my shins, and that's something I should have done. Like the second attempt felt like that. That's the reason why that 573 felt light, because my form was spot on perfect. Whereas the third attempt, the 600 pounds, I didn't make contact with my shins, and that's definitely something I need to work on to make sure that I don't do that again. So that's definitely something I'm going to practice. The reason why I'm not exactly like super disappointed with myself or sad is that it's August 5th. August 5th. It was August, and it's 5 months. I have 5 months left in the year. My goal is to deadlift 600 pounds by the end of the year, and I know that if I just worked on my form, I would have got 600 pounds today. So it's just like I broke it off the ground. I came off the ground pretty fast to my knees, and then my hips came up too quickly. I'm satisfied because that 573 felt super light, and I can't help but feel like when I go back to training, I'm going to be focusing a lot more on some heavy rack pulls or heavy block pulls. And I'll talk about that more again. In hindsight, I wish I did full power. With the way the meet went over at Boss Barbell was that there was there was two platforms, and there was A, B, C, D, E, F. There were 6 flights. I think a total of 120 lifters, maybe more. But it was well run. It was over 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, and I have to say that with everything that I went through to get there and do everything, I should have just went full power. So, not to say that there's anything wrong with doing a deadlift only. It's just that with the time that I spent, I should have just, it doesn't cost any more or less money to do a deadlift only meet versus a full power meet. One of the biggest reasons why I didn't sign up for full power was because my knee. I wasn't sure about my knee. I wasn't sure about my SI joint that I injured. That's why I squatted so low, or such a lightweight in my previous meet. But I signed up for like right away, So it's kind of like I was like, okay, I'm gonna commit to something. I'm gonna commit to deadlift only. I could have changed it to full power, but I didn't. I remember thinking when I was at the meet, thinking that maybe I should just focus on just deadlifting 600 pounds and at the gym, which is okay, but I mean not compete, right? That's sort of a thought. It's like, should I even be here? Should I even try to compete again? Is this a waste of time? And then when I got up there, and you kind of mentally prepare yourself, and you're just kind of like going through. You're around the people, you're around the energy, and there's so much to it. There's so much. Essentially, what happened was I felt like I belonged there. It felt really good, and it was really, really fun. There's something about kind of being in front of the crowd, being validated, and just making it official, using the illegal plates, the weight discs, being at Boss Barbell. It was just an experience that being at a powerlifting meet or putting yourself out there on the line. Of course, it's not like life or death or anything like that, but I mean, it definitely kind of puts you in such a different mindset. It makes you take your training so much more seriously. Just so many little things leading up to the event, but then also being there. You got to do it. If you've never done a powerlifting meet or you haven't competed in a while, it's definitely something that you should do. I plan on competing regularly, definitely at least once a year. So what's next? Well, let's talk about my training, some thoughts. Working on 600 pounds. Since I got 600 pounds, it felt really, really good. So I want to get used to holding that weight. Remember on Monday, I did that 565 block pull, which flew up super light, which is sort of why I picked 573 as my second attempt. I got this idea where you can start at maybe just above the knees or at the knees for a block pull, for a heavy deadlift, 600 pounds, and then like maybe work some sets in singles, and then take some plates off to work yourself closer to the ground. That way you essentially another way of reverse engineering the deadlift. That way you can kind of work on your technique, work on your form, and kind of make it so that it doesn't necessarily beat you up like from the ground. Because when you pull really heavy from the ground and you have a strong lower back, you end up beating your lower back up. And not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but on a heavy single, I mean, it can be it's just a higher risk that you put yourself in. And even though I haven't had any lower back issues, I mean, I had an SI joint, but that was from squatting, not from deadlifting. But then, like, actually straining your spinal erectors and not being tight enough, because I think that's one of the biggest things with heavy rack pulls, and why I think, or heavy block pulls, why I haven't been good at them, is because you have to start faster, you have to stay tighter sooner, and I usually sort of quote-unquote cheat by using my lower back to stay tight, to pick it up off the ground. So once I pick it off the ground, I'm able to kind of tighten a little bit harder, when in reality I need to be super tight from the beginning, from before the lift. Also, I'm going to be focusing on sumo technique. The reason why I'm going to focus on sumo technique is it's something that I really need to master, because in the future it may be something I want to go back to. So I need to incorporate, at least commit every time I deadlift, to commit to do at least 2 sets of 3 or 2 sets of 5, working on my technique and just building strength in that position. Because overall, I want to squat wider, and then I also maybe want to sumo in the future. And building that technique is such a pain in the ass. I'm really good at conventional, but I need to start focusing on trying to improve other aspects of my lifting, and that's going to be one of the things I'm going to do. So those are some thoughts. I'll have the other footage coming up if it's not up already, and I'll see you guys in the next video.